Good afternoon. From the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, this is Space Shuttle Discovery's launch control. The countdown for launch of Space Shuttle Discovery on mission STS-103 is continuing on schedule this afternoon. Launch is scheduled to occur at 7:50 p.m. Eastern Time, and the launch opportunity window extends for 42 minutes. The window closes at 8:32 p.m. In order for us to make a launch attempt today, mission managers conceded 2 days of the planned 10-day mission of STS-103. The last of the 4 EVAs scheduled for this mission has been eliminated, and the crew off-duty day has also been eliminated since the mission will now only be 8 days long. That puts a landing scheduled for Kennedy Space Center on December 27th at about 5:24 p.m. Eastern Time. The shortened mission will allow for landing and post-landing ground operations to be conducted at Kennedy Space Center or, if necessary, at Edwards Air Force Base in California prior to the end of the year. A primary objective of this flight is to rendezvous with the Hubble Space Telescope that was first placed into low Earth orbit aboard Discovery in April of 1990. And once we complete the rendezvous on Tuesday and grapple the telescope with the orbiter's robotic arm, the 7-member crew of Discovery will spend the next 3 days in space performing 3 EVAs, or spacewalks, to replace the various parts and get the telescope back into functional health. And we have a live shot of our 7 astronauts as they're seated for their lunch before suiting up and going out to the pad. All astronauts have been awake since several hours earlier this morning. Claude Nicollier from the European Space Agency was preparing for his 4th flight. Michael Foale is preparing for his 5th flight. Our pilot, first-time flyer on the shuttle, Scott Kelly, and commander of all, Kurt Brown, preparing for his 6th flight. Rounding out the crew, again, there are 7 crew members here. Jean-Francois Clairvoy, as well as the other crew members, Steve Smith and John Grunsfeld, whom we just saw. All astronauts, of course, are well prepared for this mission. They've been training for most of this year for this flight. They've actually been in town since about December the 6th, but with a number of delays, they have had some opportunities to, of course, fly in the shuttle training aircraft, to go through their flight plans, to make any additional changes that they might feel are necessary to this mission now that we've got 2 days less in the flight than we had earlier planned. But all are prepared for launch this afternoon with our time at the opening of the window, 7:50 p.m. Close in now of the traditional cake that is baked for the crew, indicating their crew patch. This is shuttle launch control with about 21 minutes remaining in our built-in hold at T-minus 3 hours. And we have live TV of our crew as they are being suited up for their ride into space tonight. Kurt Brown, our commander, preparing for his 6th space shuttle flight. Scott Kelly, our pilot, who will be on his 1st flight. Scott has a twin brother in the astronaut corps as well, Mark. They both joined the corps back a couple of years ago. John Grunsfeld has flown 3 times, or this will be his 3rd flight, actually. And he will be one of our spacewalkers on this mission for EVAs 1 and 3. Going over to the other side of the room, Steve Smith. He is preparing for his 3rd flight today as well. Jean-Francois Clairvoy from France, one of the European Space Agency astronauts. He's been on the shuttle twice. He's preparing for his 3rd flight today. Claude Nicollier from Switzerland, also of the European Space Agency. Claude has flown 3 times before. This will be his 4th flight into space. Michael Foale We all remember him from his 4-month stay aboard the Russian space station Mir back in '97. Live shots of our astronauts now as they come out of their crew quarters on the 3rd floor of the operations and checkout building, making their way to the elevator that will carry them down to the ground floor of the operations and checkout building. And from there, they will enter the astronaut van that will drive them out to pad 39B. Support personnel riding in the elevator with them. And here they come. And with the launch tonight, this will be the first shuttle crew to spend Christmas in orbit. And on Christmas Day, they will deploy the Hubble Space Telescope after 3 spacewalks to get it back into functional health. The crew is being led by Commander Kurt Brown. We have Scott Kelly as a pilot, mission specialist Steve Smith, Jean-Francois Clairvoy, Jean Grunsfeld, Michael Foll, and Claude Nicolier. And we see crew members with our pad cameras now walking toward the orbiter access arm on the 195-foot level of the fixed service structure. And they will soon begin entering the vehicle. And we have our first view today of the inside of the Shuttle Discovery as Commander Kurt Brown is helped into his seat. And we now have another picture of the middeck as Nicolier finds his seat on the starboard side of the vehicle.
On board at this time.
And a shot from a different angle at this time of the crew compartment, the forward crew compartment on the flight deck. This is a shot of Scott Kelly, our pilot, being suited up. Commander Kurt Brown is on the other side of him. As you can see, the bright sunlight coming in through the orbiter's windows is very indicative of the sunshine outside and the fact that we have virtually cloudless skies.
Launch Director, you have the MMT concurrence and authorization to continue with launch.
Okay, copy. And CDR.
CR, go.
Yeah, Kurt, we appreciate your patience and hanging in there with us. The vehicle and team are ready to go. We hope you have a great mission to Hubble, and we'll see you back here before the next millennium.
Dave, we copy that, and we know it's been a little bit challenging over the past months to get us ready to go, but we knew we had the best processing and the best launch team in the known universe behind us. So we're honored to be part of that team, and we have one request. We'd like you to send a note to Hubble to get ready because we're on our way.
Okay, Kurt, we appreciate that, and we're looking forward to the next few days to watch you do your magic. And NTD, launch director.
Launch director, go ahead.
Have a go to pick up the count at 9.
Copy that.
Standing by for orbiter access arm to be retracted away from the vehicle. This is the walkway used by the crew to gain entry into and out of the vehicle. It can be returned to position within seconds if necessary. Three main engines are being gimbaled as a final test before launch. Everything continues to look good, and we are cleared for launch tonight. No problems are being reported from the vehicle or from the crew.
OTC, PLT, caution and warning memory is cleared. No unexpected errors. Copy.
Discovery, close and lock your visors and initiate O2 flow. Have a safe journey to Hubble and continue man's quest to unveil the secrets of the universe. We'll see you in 8 days.
Discovery copies, visor pseudo 2.
GLS is go for ET, LH2 pressurization.
T-minus 15 seconds. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. We have a go for main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1. We have booster ignition and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery on a mission to repair the Hubble Space Telescope as we venture into the 21st century.
Houston Discovery, roll program.
Roger, roll, Discovery.
Houston is now controlling. The roll maneuver is complete. Discovery is now in a heads down position on course for a 28.5 degree, 310 nautical mile orbit. Discovery's three main engines now are beginning to throttle down to lessen the effects of the dense lower regions of the atmosphere on the orbiter. Discovery already traveling 700 miles per hour, 3 miles altitude, a little more than a mile downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. Now 1 minute into the flight, the three main engines now beginning to throttle back up.
Discovery Houston, go at throttle up.
Discovery copies, go at throttle up.
Now 1 minute, 20 seconds into the flight. Discovery already 10 miles in altitude and downrange 7 miles from the launch site, traveling 1,500 miles per hour. All systems looking good aboard Discovery. 3 good electrical systems as fuel cells, and also the auxiliary power units providing hydraulic power to the vehicle. All 3 main engines still in excellent shape, approaching 1 minute, 40 seconds into the flight. The next step is burnout and separation of the twin solid rocket boosters on the orbiter. Discovery system now weighs half of what it did at liftoff, having burned half its weight, total weight in propellant.
Discovery Houston, 2-engine bend.
Discovery copies, 2-engine bend and career.
The SRB separation has been confirmed. The crew has also been told that they can get to the Ben Guerir transatlantic abort site on 2 engines should one fail at this point. All systems in excellent shape and all very quiet here in Mission Control. 3 good main engines, 3 good hydraulic systems, and fuel cells aboard the orbiter. Discovery's altitude is 40 miles. Downrange now from the Kennedy Space Center, 55 miles. Discovery is now traveling 3,500 miles per hour. And we're back here in Mission Control in Houston, capturing these live views from Discovery as the payload bay doors are opened, as the vehicle completes its first orbit, flying within range of the Merritt Island tracking station in Florida.
Good morning, Discovery.
Good morning, Houston. Houston Discovery for payloads. We've completed step 4 now of SSE checkout, and we're on to page 1-7, step 5. No anomalies to report.
Thanks, Steve. We're with you. And Discovery, we got a good end effector camera view down here.
And this unique vantage point looking from the end effector camera on the shuttle's robotic arm, looking straight down into the payload bay, down at the flight support system. Again, that will be the structure that will house the Hubble Space Telescope, secure it in the payload bay throughout the 3 spacewalks that are scheduled for the flight. Underway now that the robotic arm has been checked out is the traditional payload bay survey using the robotic arm. And next coming into view is the orbital replacement unit carrier. The same carrier that's been used on all of the Hubble servicing missions, housing in various compartments and boxes the components that will be installed in the telescope. These various containers and canisters will also house the components that are removed from the telescope to be returned to Earth. And again, the entire structure is called the Orbital Replacement Unit Carrier, and then each box within this carrier have specific names signifying which compartment houses which pieces of equipment that will be installed in the telescope. And now the robotic arm moving back across the top of the orbital replacement unit carrier. First in view there in the center is the forward fixture, which actually is the compartment that's housing the new fine guidance sensor that will be installed on the second spacewalk.
Well, thank you very much, Kurt, and let me start off by congratulating you on a beautiful launch yesterday. A lot of us would never thought you were going to make it off the ground this year, and I guess I was wondering what you thought your chances were, and did you feel there was any undue rush there at the end to beat what turned out to be a less than firm deadline?
Well, Bill, I can't take any credit for that launch. As you know, we do a lot of training to make sure we can handle whatever happens, but the credit for that beautiful launch goes to the team down at Kennedy Space Center. They have been working quite a few hours here lately to get us off this year and have us on this mission to come up and repair Hubble, and so we're very proud of that team, and we're just glad to be part of that team.
But just to make sure I'm understanding, you didn't feel there was any rush at all to get you off. I mean, I'm taking it from your answer that you thought that this was all done in an appropriate fashion.
Well, Bill, there's kind of a joke that you always like to have a shuttle mission ahead of you so you can train and always have something to look forward to. But in our case, I think the vehicle was ready to go, the weather was ready to go, and we were definitely ready to go. And obviously Hubble's up needing the servicing, and so we're up here. So if the vehicle's ready and the crew's ready, I think the right thing to do is go launch.
Well, launching when you did, of course, meant you've had to shorten your mission from 10 days to 8 and give up one of your planned spacewalks. For Mike Foale, I was wondering what your thoughts are about that and how confident you are about restoring Hubble to good health with 3 spacewalks.
Oh, Bill, I'm sure we're going to achieve all of the objectives that were specified as necessary for 100% success, and that's basically to replace the gyroscopes that have failed on the telescope, and also change out the computer and some charging units and define guidance sensor. Those are the critical elements that have to be done for this flight, and we'll achieve those actually in 2 EVAs, and then we'll get some extra tasks done on the 3rd one.
Were you disappointed, Mike, yourself? I guess you're one of the ones that's going to lose an EVA after all that training. I was just wondering how frustrating that is.
Well, they come, they go, and it's you have to kind of roll with it. Sometimes things change, and you get more than you ask for. Sometimes you get less. It's really something I try and look, in the big picture down the road a bit. There'll be other flights, other chances. Certainly, I would regret not getting as many EVAs as I could. Being greedy as I am, but this is fine, and I understand why the program made this decision.
Kirk, your crew is just the 3rd in American history, I guess, space history, to be in orbit over Christmas, and the 1st in the history of the Shuttle program. And I know you guys are going to be busy on Christmas Day redeploying the Hubble Space Telescope, but I was wondering if you'll have any time at all to teleconference with your families. Do you have any decorations on board? Is there a tree, perhaps?
Well, Bill, we can't tell you all our secrets, but we're looking forward to the deploy of Hubble, and if we have a chance on Christmas Day to say hello to our families, we'll definitely take advantage of that.
Did you guys get to finish your Christmas shopping, or is there a way you're doing any Christmas shopping online up there, I'm wondering?
Well, we can't do any Christmas shopping online from here, but we were able to take care of that, I think, online during our 2 weeks in quarantine. At least I was able to do that.
Thanks a lot. And the last question from my wife. I was wondering if you guys plan to leave any milk and cookies out for Santa Claus this year.
Before we flew this mission and there was a possibility of flying over Christmas, I talked to my 5-year-old daughter about that and explained to her how that could be a possibility. And once I told her that we're going to point the telescope at the North Pole and get a picture of Santa, she was all excited and really didn't mind too much her dad being away for Christmas.
Well, tell you what, let me finish with one last one here real quick. I know you guys always try to get done things when you might not always have the time, like that 4th EVA. I mean, for Mike Foale, I guess, any chance you can squeeze in some of the tasks on that 4th EVA on the 3 you've got? I'm assuming there's no chance this mission will get extended today, Kurt.
Bill, as far as the question goes about squeezing in the 4th EVA into the 3rd, no, I don't think there's any chance of that, except maybe one small task involving latch doors to be properly latched that were not properly closed. Well, we're not that need repair right now, and we had planned that for the 4th day, and we may be able to do that on the 3rd day or the 2nd day. I'm going to let you have the answer from Kurt on the second part of your question.
Well, Bill, as you know, we haven't been to Hubble in a few years, and we never know what we may find. I'm sure if we found some need to do a 4th EVA or make changes to our current EVAs, the program would look at that and we come up with the right decision. So our plan right now is to do the 3 EVAs, and like I said, there's no better place than to be in space, so we're very, very happy up here.
Commander Brown, what's your vision of how space exploration will unfold in the future? Will we colonize Mars? Will space travel become common? Are we alone in the universe?
Well, I hate to quote a movie that came out not too long ago. If we're the only ones in space, it's a terrible waste of space. But I think there's going to be things out there that we can hardly imagine, and hopefully in the next years to come, we will have a chance to go out and explore that. We're taking very small steps now. There's things we have to learn, how to do space exploration, how to enable humans to go to other places. The distances are it's a long way to the nearest planet or star. So we've got to figure out ways to do that. So we're taking small steps now, and just like a few years ago, flying in an aircraft was kind of unheard of. pretty soon flying in space will be common nature, and I think that's where we're going to go.
Jean-Francois Clairvoy, as a member of the European Space Agency, please tell us about international cooperation in space. Why are you flying on a NASA shuttle?
NASA has opened its space program to a cooperation with many countries, including the 14 countries of Europe, starting with in the early days of the Space Shuttle with a space lab, and Europe being one of the partners for the construction of the International Space Station. We have been part of the Space Shuttle program since the beginning, and I hope that Europe will be also part of the international program that NASA will probably push in the next 20 years to go and explore Mars, like we have started now on automatic probes to visit Mars.
Michael Foale, you are a father. As you look at Earth from space, what do you think about the future for your children on this fragile planet?
Well, I think the future for our children is boundless. I think we can do terrible things. I think we can do wonderful things as a race. And I want my children and the children they come in contact with to feel that they have great potential, that they can make more of the future than their parents have and their grandparents have. I think part of that will be working in space. I think exploring space and working with other countries, going to first orbit to build the International Space Station, and then Moon and Mars and colonize the solar system will be a huge endeavor for many, many nations on the Earth. And I think in the process of doing that, our children will actually be far more tolerant and able to work with each other, even though they have differences between their different countries, than so far generations have shown up to this point.
Mr. Kelly, Scott, please describe your first feelings of seeing Earth from space. This is your first time up there. Is the sunrise beautiful?
My feelings when I first saw the Earth from space are really hard to describe because the Earth really is so beautiful. It is a crystal clear, brilliant blue when you first see the Atlantic Ocean in our case, and the sunrise following a night launch, and it really is one of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen. It's something that I will never forget, and it's something that I wish everyone on Earth could experience, and hopefully one day they will have that opportunity.
Commander Brown, from your very special vantage point in space, can you give us a message of hope and peace for the new millennium?
Well, as we've touched on in the last few questions, the Earth is very beautiful. The space program is going more towards an international style, and we have many countries working together for the International Space Station. And as you look down on the planet and you realize all the people that are there and all the countries that are around the planet, and we do have conflicts these days, and we do have countries that do not get along with each other and people that do not get along with each other. And my dream would be that would all go away. As you orbit the Earth, there's really no boundaries. You see the land masses, the continents, but you really don't see the people. And you imagine the people down below, and you imagine them all getting along. And it's so easy to see that from space, how easy it would be, and how fragile the Earth is. And because it's so fragile, and actually it's so small, as we orbit it only takes 90 minutes to go all the way around. And as you see the delicate balance of what we have here on planet Earth, my wishes and my blessings are for the world to come together and be a place where everyone will get along together, and we'll all take care of our planet, and we can all view and admire our planet.
Good morning, Discovery. Hubble's about 278 miles ahead of you and 13 miles above you.
Houston, Discovery, good morning. You have 7 people very anxious to rendezvous with Hubble. Tell them we're on our way.
Discovery, we see a good config for the burn.
Discovery cops, thanks.
This burn upcoming in 10 seconds will use the left orbital maneuvering system engine on the tail of the orbiter, so hopefully with this view we'll be able to see that engine fire up here momentarily. And the burn is in progress. Again, it's a very short 17-second burn. We saw the initial startup of the engine, and that engine now has cut off. And this is Mission Control Houston. This view from one of the forward bulkhead cameras in the payload bay of Discovery, looking at the Hubble Space Telescope, 52 miles out in front of Discovery, 45 nautical miles, or about 277,000 feet.
Houston, Discovery, we have the Hubble Space Telescope inside through the COAS.
That's fantastic news.
This is Mission Control Houston as the Hubble Space Telescope flies high above the Earth's surface over the Atlantic Ocean. Again, just as it did about an hour and a half ago, its orbital track taking it across the surface of the Moon. The Moon will be full tomorrow night, which also happens to be the winter solstice, the point at which the Moon and the Sun are at their closest points to the Earth's surface. And due to that phenomena, the Moon will actually appear about 14 or so % bigger than it does routinely, and it will also appear much brighter because of the Sun's proximity to the Earth in relation to the Moon's proximity to the Earth as well. And all is continuing to go very smoothly and quietly here in Mission Control. We are getting confirmation now that the robotic arm is over the grapple fixture on the telescope. And we do now have confirmation that the grapple is complete with the rigidization of the telescope's grapple fixture in work. And capture now has been confirmed.
Houston, Discovery, we have a good capture. We have Hubble grappled.
In Discovery, congratulations. Everyone here is congratulates you on your first-class job with a good grapple.
And for the first time since February 1997, the Hubble Space Telescope, just as it was viewed when the shuttle left it 3 years ago.
Discovery Houston, for your information, we just got KU coverage, and we have a good picture of the Hubble on the end of the arm. Beautiful sight.
Thank you, Chief. Good news.
And Discovery now moving into daylight, giving a much better view of the telescope, again for the first time since February of 1997. Apparently no worse for the wear. The telescope view coming from one of the cameras at the back end of Discovery's payload bay.
Houston, Houston, Discovery for HST. Latch and mate HST complete.
We copy. You're one big vehicle now. And I have a delta for the timeline.
Again, recapping, almost an hour, exactly an hour after the telescope was captured by the shuttle's robot arm, the telescope was firmly berthed and latched atop the flight support system. And then just moments ago, about 10 minutes ago, the Hubble Space Telescope was verified on external power, orbiter power, where it will remain for the remainder of the stay in Discovery's payload bay. In addition to payload bay cameras on each corner of Discovery's payload bay, there are also 2 cameras on the shuttle's robot arm, one on the elbow joint and one out on the very tip of the arm, the business end of the arm, the end effector, which provides a very close-up view of the telescope and its systems. As part of the post-berthing activities, the robot arm will be used to provide the Hubble project with some very detailed views of the telescope up close and personal, since it has not been seen now for almost 3 years. It allows the project to assess the health of all of the external surfaces of the telescope. That survey will be conducted primarily by a robotic arm operator on board mission specialist Jean-Francois Clairvoy.
Discovery Houston, from the Orbit 1 team, Linda and I and the rest of the room would like to congratulate you for a spectacular day, making the hardest things look easy. We were excited to be here the whole day, and it's time to turn over to Brian and Ellen, the Orbit 2 team. As we looked at your video photos of the moon, we were reminded of 31 years ago today, Apollo 8 launched, taking Frank Borman and Jim Lovell and Bill Anders to the moon.
And Steve, we copy that, and it was a beautiful sight today as we got closer and closer to Hubble and was able to accomplish the rendezvous, the grapple, and the berthing. And we want to say special thanks to our training team for making sure that we were able to do all that hard work, and the Steve Walker and the rendezvous team for making sure we knew exactly how we were going to find Hubble. And as you know, it takes a team to make it work, and without y'all today, we couldn't have made all this work. And we appreciate that, and I sure wish we were going to the moon today.
Kurt, thanks for your words. I know your training teams and all of us are pretty proud to be all involved, and we're pretty in awe of what you accomplished up there. So we'll see you tomorrow.
And now we have our first views of Steve Smith. hanging on the end of the shuttle's robotic arm. This view from one of the cameras on the arm up on the elbow, looking at this unique vantage point down into the payload bay.
Okay, that's complete too. TV camera's hooked up. Brother Bob, you can take the arm to the airlock.
Copy, moving down to the airlock ingress position.
And Steve, can you verify, can you take the stanchion to the 180? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, let me get the stanchion. And Mike, I've got the thermal cover open.
Okay, I'm not moving the arm yet.
Thank you, Billy Bob. Hey, Mike, the TA is deployed. I'm going to extend it now.
I see that.
All three knobs have been placed back in the latch position.
And the first full views now of John Grunsfeld down near the external airlock.
Continue forward.
This looking straight down from the elbow camera up on the shuttle's remote manipulator system or robotic arm.
I see no peeling or flaking or anything all the way up to the trunnion. So John, I think you're going to be okay to transition there. Wait, I'll check the other side though. I am picking up a little bit of yellow pigment. Again, no flaking or anything.
Copy.
All the solar rays okay?
Very minor ripples in the fabric and in the foil.
Okay, because I know the VAPS post is not in yet. Okay, minus speed 3 handrails. A little bit more like their original color. I see no flaking or tipping or anything. They look good. That's a big telescope, boy.
Recopy, Steve.
Hey, 6 through 10 look, I guess, just like they did on 82. You know, there's some, the blankets that we fixed are still there, it looks like. Mike, anything else up here for the VAPS post now?
I copy, Steve, and we're waiting on the battery space installation.
Okay. Okay, we're now clear of Hubble.
Yeah, I think you're clear to go up and forward at the same time.
Yes. I concur.
Okay, John, are you ready for the cope?
Yes.
Okay, moving to the cope.
I'm ready. Okay, open it slowly, make sure nothing flies out.
Houston Discovery, for payloads, we have completed the pivot HST to 90 degrees. The times are nominal.
Yeah, I think everything looks good inside the cope, Mike.
Good to hear that, Steve.
This is Mission Control Houston, back aboard Discovery now with 2 astronauts well into the task of replacing and changing out the rate sensor units. Again, this is an up-close and personal view looking over the shoulder of John Grunsfeld into the aft shroud section of the telescope. Steve Smith already tucked up inside, turned around on his back. That's the best position to remove and replace the rate sensor units.
Don't go much farther, though. Okay, I won't. Okay, I can verify the bag tether is on it. I'm releasing my tether. It's in the bag. Roger. Got some curveballs, some knuckleballs today.
And Houston, just to summarize, we have the cockpit closed with 2 latches, and RSU-2 is stowed with a 1/4 inch to go in the phone, and the ATM transport door not closed.
And it's incredibly tight. Hey, John, am I clear to come up? You're clear to come up. Okay, my safety tether's on the left. Yep. We could try it in the transport module next to it. I guess that's one of it. That's what I was thinking we might want to do. And John, can I stop the body pitch up? Yes, you may. Okay, well.
Steve Smith confirming or commenting that the old rate sensor unit has quite a tight fit, putting it back into the canister for the return trip home, but the outer lid to that canister closes fine. So for the time being, the crew members have been given a go to press on and change out the second of the 3 rate sensor units. In the meantime, the Hubble project has confirmed a good activation of the first installed rate sensor unit.
Sorry about the delay. We concur with your plan to leave the cope door lid closed on the RSU-2 as it is.
Thanks.
Okay, no more right? Perfect. Jean-Francois, can you take me to my right? No, that's okay. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Sir? Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Go for connector D-mate, Michael?
Am I Houston Discovery? Do we have a go for RSU-3 connector D-mate?
Discovery, you have a go for RSU-3 connector D-mate.
Copy. Steve, go ahead.
Okay. Jean-Francois, take me in. Moving in. It'll be about 3 feet. About 3 feet in. About 2 feet on your helmet. 1 foot. Good foot late clearance. 1 foot. And stop. 8 inches. Good. Thumbs up. You're on. Okay. Here we go. 11 turns. Correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Hold up.
And we're done on RSU-2.
Okay, so you're good on 2?
good on 2. Please transition to number 3.
Okay.
On board, the crew members are taking closeout photos and video of the work site before closing the aft shroud doors, that to provide back to the Hubble project as a reference tool on the work that was accomplished inside. Again, all 3 rate sensor units have been removed and replaced and checked out and activated, and all appears at this point to be in good shape, with Hubble now essentially back in business with 6 new gyroscopes.
Okay. You're clear to turn around. Okay, I'm around. I'm going to swing that right door towards me. I've got the right door. Okay.
Astronauts Steve Smith and John Grunsfeld now, Steve Smith on the left and John Grunsfeld on the right, now through 5 hours, 17.5 minutes into the spacewalk. The crew members now have completed the NICMOS exercise, that is removing bayonet caps and opening valves on the coolant in and the coolant out lines, that to allow any residual coolant that may be frozen in those lines to dissipate in the vacuum of space. And that a task designed to prepare for the installation of a new coolant system for that near-infrared camera and multi-object spectrometer, which was installed on the last servicing mission in February of 1997. That task now complete. Crew members are closing the aft shroud doors, and once that's completed, they'll move on to the next task again, which is to install those 6 voltage temperature improvement kits, basically voltage regulators to ensure that the Hubble's 10-year-old batteries do not overheat. The batteries are actually working fine, but as they age, there's always a consideration of those batteries overheating during the charge and discharge cycle. And so these VIKs, as they're known by their acronym, voltage temperature improvement kits, will be installed to ensure that the batteries do not overheat, and mainly a precaution, but one that the Hubble team would like done today if possible, before the crew members come back inside.
Okay, moving up, and I will continue some body left roll to clear better. Okay. So let me tell you what I've got. 3 o'clock into the bridge rail, 12 o'clock on the articulating socket with the pitch. The pit pin is in. The crossing of the PFR is 6. The roll is Bravo 0.5, and the pitch on the foot plate is 10. And I've got 2 green stripes on the bridge rail.
And Steve, the pitch should be 11 on the foot plate.
Okay. I think 10 is better for payload bay door clearance.
Okay, we have a view of it now. We'll record that and make sure Houston sees it.
Okay. Foot if you could take me 6 feet to my right, please. That's well within the... All right.
Discovery Houston.
Okay, and I'll get the VIK chatting.
Discovery Houston, PTC settings for EV2. Alpha 1, counterclockwise 2, 2.5.
1, 2, 3 on the lower left.
This is Mission Control Houston. The crew members now have closed the aft shroud doors, and the next step is to bolt the fixed head star trackers back into place.
Whether you recommend us doing the MFR swap?
1, 2.
And IV, we're discussing that right now. I'll be right back to you.
Okay, doors open. Okay, and pull it open. Jump control, take me out.
Out. And you'll set the door stage on.
Roger that.
Perhaps Steve could do that for you, actually.
In the out. Actually, with this caddy on, I think if you just push the door, it'll go in.
copy. Charlie's debris clear. So, John, Bravo is already connected?
Bravo is connected, yeah.
I missed that one.
Okay. All three are connected.
And can you give me the serial number on Charlie?
Affirmative. 014 Foxtrot. And I've got my Velcro work to do.
Okay, we copy 014 Foxtrot. Well done, John. And again, John, we'll have to skip photo closeout because of the time.
Copy that. Push down on my back. Yep. Okay, stop. Stop. We get in position here. Okay. I'll count to 3, okay? Okay. We'll go to phase 2. Yep. Okay, you ready? Yep. 1, 2, 3. Do that again. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Well, I bet what happened is the phone kind of accommodated after a while.
What you need, Steve, on the right.
Yep. Let's do it one more time. I think we almost got it. Okay. Tell me when you're ready. I'm ready. You're going to push on me, right? Yep. 1, 2, 3. How far off is it? I think we can get it. Hold on. Okay. I've got it. With that corner, you got it? Yep. Okay, it's yours.
And the tool caddy now has been removed from the manipulator foot restraint on the end of the shuttle's robot arm. That now being placed inside the airlock by John Grunsfeld.
Let's see, 180, 180. 180. So I think you already did that, huh, John? That's basically where it was. Yeah. Okay.
You should get a 000. You copy that, Steve?
Yeah, 000.